There is a very strange feeling that some people understand extremely well. It's the feeling when plans get cancelled. Not disappointment. Not frustration. Not the kind of, oh, that's too bad. But relief. A quiet little exhale. Like you just escaped something exhausting. Like some invisible pressure suddenly disappeared. And if you know that exact feeling, comment 1 below. Just to see how many people truly understand this. Because sometimes, it's not just about liking to stay home. It can be a sign of something much deeper. Most people assume that, if someone doesn't like going out, they must be lazy. Or extremely introverted. Or bad at socializing. Or somehow struggling with life. Maybe you've heard things like, just go out. It'll clear your mind. Staying home all the time is boring. What's there to be nervous about? Just go, you'll have fun once you're there. And maybe you've even said those things to yourself. But then, when it's actually time to go, your body suddenly feels heavy. Nothing bad happened. No one did anything to you. But just thinking about going out, seeing people, talking, replying to messages, showing up, already feels exhausting. And then you tell yourself, maybe another day. I'm just a little tired. I'm not in the mood today. Tomorrow will probably feel better. And sometimes, that's true. Everyone gets tired. Everyone has days when they want to be alone. That is completely normal. But this video is not about those days. This video is about a different feeling. That feeling, where staying home always seems like the most comfortable option. The safest option. The most controllable option. The least stressful option. While the outside world starts feeling too loud. Too unpredictable. Too draining. Too much to manage. And the strange part is, you don't exactly hate people. You don't exactly hate social interaction. You don't exactly want to disappear from the world. You just don't want to go out. At least not today. Then, today becomes tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. And before you realize it, your world starts getting smaller. Because this is something many people never think about. Your brain was not designed to make you happy. It was designed to keep you safe. And those are two very different things. If your brain believes something might make you uncomfortable, embarrassed, emotionally drained, or overwhelmed, it will start trying to protect you. Even if that form of protection slowly becomes the exact thing trapping you. And the scariest part, a lot of people don't even realize it's happening. They only know one thing: staying home feels easier. But sometimes, that feeling of comfort isn't actually peace. Sometimes, it's avoidance, wearing a very convincing disguise. And once that pattern begins, it can quietly start changing your entire life. Because what happens next in psychology is far more common than most people realize. Now let's talk about what is actually happening underneath all of this. Because if you only look at it from the outside, it seems simple. A person just likes staying home. That's all. But psychology shows, it is often much more complicated than that. Because your brain is always doing one job: predicting. Every day. Every hour. With every experience. It is constantly tracking what feels safe. What feels unsafe. What feels comfortable. What creates discomfort. If you do something, and things go fine, your brain remembers that. If you do something, and you feel embarrassed, drained, anxious, or emotionally hurt, your brain remembers that too. And this is where things begin to shift. Because for some people, home stops being just a place to live. It becomes a confirmed safe outcome. Your brain understands this place. It knows what happens here. No surprises. No pressure. No need to explain yourself. No worrying about saying the wrong thing. No dealing with someone's judgment. Here, everything feels predictable. But the outside world, it doesn't. And that is where a dangerous loop begins. Imagine this. You feel a little anxious about meeting someone. You feel tired. Stressed. You don't want to go. So you cancel. And immediately, you feel better. Lighter. Less pressured. Sounds good, right? But this is the trap. Because the moment you feel relief, your brain learns a lesson. That lesson is, avoiding this made me safer. And next time, it will want you to avoid it again. This is exactly what psychology calls the avoidance loop. You avoid something that creates anxiety. Your anxiety drops. Your brain treats that relief as a reward. And because it was rewarded, it repeats the behavior. Put simply, the more you avoid something, the more your brain becomes convinced that the thing was actually dangerous, even when it wasn't. And that is why what starts as, not today, becomes, I'm not really in the mood this week. Then, maybe next month. And eventually, going outside starts feeling far heavier than reality actually is. Not because the outside world change, but because your brain change, the way it interprets the outside world. This is what many people misunderstand. They think, if I don't want to go out, I must just be lazy. No. Laziness does not create anxiety. Laziness does not make a simple text message feel stressful. Laziness does not turn a casual plan into an emotional burden. What is happening is often much deeper. And sometimes, this does not begin with one dramatic event. Not everyone has a major trauma. Not everyone went through one huge painful moment. Sometimes, it is just many small experiences. One moment of feeling out of place. One moment of being judged. One awkward thing you said. One experience of not feeling like you belonged. One exhausting social interaction. Then another. Then another. Until your nervous system quietly concludes, home is safer. And the dangerous part is, this process usually happens silently. You do not realize you are building a cage. Because it does not begin with pain. It begins with comfort. And that is exactly what makes it dangerous. Because this is only the surface. The bigger question is, what happens when this pattern goes on for too long? And this is where things become more complicated. Because if this pattern lasts long enough, it stops being just about liking to stay home. It starts changing the way you see the world. And even more dangerously, it starts changing the way you see yourself. Because the less you go out, the fewer new experiences you have. And the fewer experiences you have, the less chance your brain has to update its beliefs. Think of it like this. If you believe going out will make you feel drained, uncomfortable, embarrassed, or overwhelmed, the only way to prove that belief is not completely true is to actually go out and experience something different. But if you never do that, that belief never gets challenged. It just keeps growing in silence. No one argues with it. No new evidence appears. No new experiences. Just assumptions, becoming more and more certain. And this is where many people get stuck. Not because they hate the world, but because they have spent so long no longer feeling like they belong in it. It is a very strange feeling. You do not exactly want to disappear. But you do not really want to show up either. You do not hate people. But reconnecting with them feels exhausting. Not because people change, but because the distance grew. Because after enough time, a different fear begins to appear. No longer the fear of going out, but the fear of explaining yourself. Where have you been? Why haven't you replied? Haven't seen you in forever. Very normal questions. But for someone trapped in this loop, those questions can feel incredibly heavy. Because each one feels like a reminder that you have been gone too long. And then another feeling appears. Shame. This is the part very few outsiders truly understand. The longer you stay in the comfort zone, the harder returning becomes. Not because the door is locked, but because in your mind, it starts looking like a wall. You start thinking, it would be weird to come back now. I wouldn't even know what to say. They probably think I'm strange. Maybe another time. And that another time keeps never arriving. That is how this cage works. Not through force, but through gentle postponement. Little by little. Until you no longer realize you are stuck. And sometimes, the roots go even deeper. Because for some people, the issue is not going outside. The issue is feeling judged. A moment of public embarrassment. Something awkward you said, that you never forgot. A moment of feeling uninteresting. A rejection. A painful relationship. A moment of feeling completely out of place. Things like that may seem small on the surface. But your nervous system does not always measure pain logically. It measures it emotionally. And if the emotional impact is strong enough, your brain remembers. Not to hurt you, but to protect you. That is important to understand. A lot of people think, maybe I'm just weak. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe something is wrong with me. But often, that is not true at all. Often your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Protect you from what it believes is dangerous. The problem is, your brain does not always know the difference between real danger and emotional discomfort. That is why some people start avoiding things that are objectively very normal. Not because they are weak, but because their nervous system has learned to react as if those things are threats. And once you understand that, something important happens. You stop hating yourself. Because real change does not begin with shame. It begins with understanding what is actually happening. But understanding alone is not enough. Because the biggest question is, how do you actually break this pattern? But this is the most important part. Because understanding what is happening does not automatically make it disappear. You can clearly understand why you feel this way. You can recognize the avoidance loop. You can know exactly what is happening inside your psychology. And tomorrow morning, you may still not want to step outside your door. Because insight is not always enough to change behavior. Real change happens when your brain starts collecting new evidence. And this is where many people make a mistake. They think the solution is, tomorrow I'll completely change. Tomorrow I'll go out all day. Tomorrow I'll become social again. But that is usually the fastest way to fail. Because if your nervous system has already learned to see the outside world as something to be cautious of, forcing yourself to jump straight into it often just makes your brain panic more. The solution is not to fight yourself. The solution is to retrain your nervous system. Little by little. No giant transformation required. No dramatic breakthrough moment. Just small pieces of evidence. For example, go outside for 5 minutes. Not 5 hours. Reply to one message. Not reconnect with everyone. Take a walk around the block. Not attend a crowded gathering. Small steps like that may seem insignificant. But to your brain, they are new data. Every time you go outside, and nothing terrible happens, your brain learns again. Every time you reconnect, and you are not hurt, your brain updates itself. Every time you do something you once avoided, and you survive it, that cage gets a little weaker. This is not about being mentally strong or weak. This is about retraining your nervous system's response. And if you're watching this video, and you see yourself in it, comment 9. Not to explain anything. Just to know, you are not the only one who has ever felt this way. Because sometimes, the thing that keeps people trapped the longest is not fear. It is the feeling that they are the only one struggling. But you are not. And if you are watching this because of someone else, a friend, a family member, someone who has slowly disappeared from the world, there is something very important to understand. Shame will not help them change. Pressure will not help them change. Phrases like, there's nothing to be afraid of. Just go outside. Stop overthinking. Almost never help. Because that person has probably already said those exact things to themselves hundreds of times. What they usually need is not pressure. It is connection. Patience. Presence. Because underneath all the psychology, all the brain mechanisms, all the avoidance loops, this is actually a deeply human story. It is the story of someone who found a place that made them feel safe. The only problem is that safe place can slowly become a prison. And maybe that is the real question. Is your home a place of healing? Or a cage you have simply become too familiar with?